All right, so we're back, and listen, I am making this video knowing good and well it's going to hurt me to do so, knowing that I need to do it, but I don't want to. It's like eating Taco Bell late at night when nothing else is open. You're hungry as but you know what comes out the other end is not going to feel good. That's the reference I came up with. I don't know. But for more specifics, not on the Taco Bell and what happens to your stomach, but what happens in this video, I'm of course talking about Jake calling out Michael Bisping or saying he's on a hit list. Jake's talked about it. Michael's put it on his channel. There's been a back and forth. This fight cannot happen, and if it does, it's not going to go well. Before we get into any of that, guys, I want you to be here on Saturday. The W.A.D.E Concept Watch Party is back. Tyson Fury, Dillian White, Heavyweight Championship of the World. I'll see you guys on Saturday, 6 p.m. Watch parties are back. So let's get into it. Jake Paul, Michael Bisping. Should this fight happen? No. Will it happen? I hope to God not. And well, I'll explain why. The breakdown, let's go. All right, so let me set the scene. Jake was on Teddy Atlas, who I love, who I think is one of the best minds in boxing. He was on his podcast, right? And he had this to say about his next opponent, who is on Jake Paul's hit list.
What's next? Who are you fighting in August?
You know, Floyd Mayweather, La Hoya, Anderson Silva.
That's a good fight.
I like Silva.
Bisping, Anderson Silva. Those are tests and those are fights that people will get up for.
Well, hell, let him finish saying the list. Go ahead, finish
Fury,
the list.
Sonny Williams out of Australia. So there's a lot of people on the hit list.
Floyd Mayweather, honestly, no, I don't want to see Floyd box anymore, but he'll jump at money like a Price is Right contestant in one of those fucking air tubes, so okay. You had Sonny Bill Williams. I'm not even going to try to understand that fight. I don't think many people are going to buy a Sonny Williams, Jake Paul pay-per-view, and Jake is in this to get paid. He is. Tommy Fury, which I've said is the fight. I've said it so many times. I'm not going to say it anymore. It's the fight. They're not going to make it at least until Tommy shows them a reason to do it on their end, monetarily. Anderson Silva came out of his mouth, and that's one fight I think Jake does not want, but will continue to say he wants as long as other names are mentioned. That way he can deflect off many names and not just say, I want to fight Anderson Silva next specifically. But the one person that responded to Jake and the one person that seems to have his attention is Michael Bisping. So let's see what he had to say.
Do I want to fight Jake Paul? Right, listen, here's the thing. I had a great career. I'm very happy with what I accomplished. I'm happily retired, but I do miss the thrill of competition. And I don't see Jake Paul as necessarily a threat. I retired from fighting because I only had one eye, and I didn't want to risk my other eye. In boxing, the bigger gloves, you know, against Jake Paul. Again, as I say, I don't really see him as a threat. You've done great. You're earning a lot of money. You're a big star. You're getting a lot of pay-per-views and stuff like that. So for that reason, I probably would.
So before we get into my thoughts on this entire thing, Jake had a response on Twitter. Let's take a look. All right, let's get into this. I don't know why Jake is doing his best Scuba Steve impression.
Oh, Michael, you bloody mate. Why do we got
Michael, you bloody mate. Jake's never heard anybody from the UK outside of Deji or KSI talk, ever.
So Bisping's coming at me on Twitter, you know, saying I'll never win a championship.
All right, so this is, again, part of the back and forth. Jake said, I'll knock you out worse than Hendo, referring, of course, to Dan Henderson knocking Michael Bisping out fucking cold back in the day. And another reason Mike Bisping shouldn't be fighting at 43 years old. He is damaged badly. But anyway, Jake goes on, you're an easy fight, but show me you can get licensed, and I will show you 1 million plus pay-per-views. Again, using this emoji because Bisping can't use it, LOL. Jake's a fucking asshole. We know this. He's doing this to get a rise out of Mike Bisping, but also him challenging Mike Bisping to get licensed and then attaching $1 million plus in pay-per-view as a persuader to then go out and basically lie to an athletic commission to get himself sanctioned. That is some weird, scummy bullshit.
I am not just the type of person to talk shit without backing it up. So if you can get licensed with your one eye and old ass.
Again, this is like an own. Go lie to a commission so that you can get licensed when you clearly are going to be at a physical disadvantage because you have one eye. Like I said, it's smart from Jake to say things like this because it pokes at Mike's pride, but how does anybody look at this like it's not scummy? It's just really weird to me.
I would love to fight you. Let's see if that championship that you won and all the respect you have from the fight community can really get you through a boxing match with me, because I bet it can't.
That's a great point. And we've seen it already. Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, well-respected, high-level championship fighters got put on their fucking faces by this guy. None of that matters. It doesn't.
Jake Paul's bringing a lot of attention, a lot of eyes to the boxing world. Suspicious. So does this mean you respect me, Michael? I think it does. Oh, you're swallowing your own words. I want to swallow your eyeball. Pop that thing out for me, Daddy.
Yeah. That's enough of that. I'm fucking mortified. Let's try to objectively look at this, right? Without putting in that Mike is a former world champ at middleweight in the UFC, in MMA. Let's just look at it. One, Michael Bisping is bigger, taller than anybody that Jake's fought. Throughout the years of his MMA career and even before that, he was known as a very, very high skill, high pace, high combination kickboxer. Bisping has put guys down with his hands, absolutely won the title at middleweight, doing so with the left hook Larry. You see the smile on my face because I'm a massive fan of Mike Bisping, but we have to talk about the bad things, and that is Mike's 43. We know this. He's retired, has been for 2 years from the UFC. He has one fucking eye. The other eye is completely blind. He has 2 bad knees. He has a terrible neck. And I say all that because Bisping is going, well, I don't really look at him as a threat. And those big boxing gloves, I could see them coming. Yeah, okay, but what happens when those big boxing gloves are used as window dressing or to block the vision of a certain right eye to then come across with the big right hand, and all of a sudden, those big gloves catch Mike across the chin? How does a 43-year-old Mike Bisping's chin hold up after the brutal knockout from Dan Henderson? After many wars, back and forth, tough decisions, massive KO from Kelvin Gastelum in his last fight, in his swan song 2 years ago. I just don't see it being a good formula for success for Mike Bisping, and all it does is offer up his legacy for a guy like Jake Paul to bring in, make a shit ton of pay-per-view money, take all of that shine and say, look what I did to another former MMA champ. And that's the reason Jake is talking more about Mike Bisping than anybody else. They look at Bisping and he checks all the boxes of what they want. A guy that's been a part of a massive pay-per-view, UFC 217 with George St. Pierre. Guy that can talk his ass off, has a wildly successful YouTube channel, is a commentator for the UFC. He's an entertaining dude, and outside of KSI would probably be the easiest matchup for Jake at this current moment. That's my opinion, but I just don't see it any other way. And another thing that we just have to cover, this fight, again, no matter how much Jake begs Michael to go lie to a commission here in the US, I don't think even a Florida commission as a pro bout will sanction Michael Bisping with the complete public knowledge that he even admits that he has one eye that works. He is blind in his other eye completely. Now, with that being said, Mike did make a good point in his own video that you don't just have to fight in the United States.
I'll tell you what, Jake, if you're watching, if you want to throw down, if you want to step in the squared circle with me, I'll oblige. Only thing is, I won't get sanctioned. You know, I doubt one of the athletic commissions would let me right now because I used to lie about my eye, but now the secret's out. You know, the cat's out of the bag. But there's lots of places where they will not care. Lots of places where they don't give a shit. What about Dubai? Dubai seems to be hosting a lot of fights. Let's go to Dubai. What about an Indian reservation? No problem there. Lots of countries in Europe, Africa, China. I mean, the world is our oyster.
Dubai absolutely would sanction that fight. There are other places around the world that absolutely would, and that's what scares me because that makes this fight a reality. No matter Mike's respect, no matter his championships in MMA, no matter how good of a kickboxer he was at 43 years old, and I keep saying it, but it's just, you can't not mention it, the single eye, his terrible knees, his neck issues, Jake's continuous activity in boxing, and his youth, Jake will hurt Michael Bisping in a boxing ring, and it maybe is a close fight, but Jake probably beats him. I don't think Mike watches my channel, and if he did, he'd look at me and say, who is this fucking loser behind the screen? What does he know? And he'd probably be right, but what I do know is this: as you get older, your body doesn't respond well to multiple training days. As you get older, you cannot take the damage you could as a fresh, young fighter. And not only that, there are permanent disadvantages that Mike can't just make up. His eye isn't going to be able to see again. His knees aren't going to be young again. And while 10 years ago, that was his heyday, this is not. Mike, please don't do this. I'm just going to leave it there. You guys let me know what you think down below. Does this feel scummy to you guys like it feels to me? Jake begging Mike to lie to a commission publicly doesn't really sit right with me. Don't like it at all. Either he doesn't want to fight Tommy Fury because he's not a draw, or he doesn't want to fight someone else like an Anderson Silva because Anderson pieces him up like a McDonald's 10-piece McChicken nugget combo. But the question I have as we leave off, what happens with this Michael Bisping, Jake Paul saga? Is Mike gonna take the bait? Is Jake gonna continue to clown Mike, beg him to lie to a commission so that he can fight a 43-year-old retired MMA fighter? Much like Jake Paul when he's asked a question about his NFT scams and where all that money's coming from outside of the boxing ring, I don't have those answers, but I guess we'll find out.